No panic too soon. These are the times that test our fortitude and our resilience. They haven't given us much time to prepare today, but we do need to act on this sooner rather than later, so things can get better before they get worse. We simply can't afford to wait until the dust is clear, for we can't even agree on an adequate definition of the word clear. I don't need to tell you, we just don't have the time to gather all the vital evidence and appropriate related data. Much less do we have the time to decipher it all before we debate. Now let's be honest here. The time for debate is past. The trouble is, all the qualified evaluators who are familiar with the ins and outs of circumstances such as this, the ones who would normally sit on the various committees and subcommittees, are just too busy and too dispersed to be quickly brought together physically. Further, and from the perspective of common sense, this truly would be a far simpler task, as gathering them together physically, that is, than how it would be to get them together mentally, emotionally. There is a likelihood of panic if we can't get our ducks to line up in an orderly fashion. This being such short notice, I won't be following the accepted protocol, nor will I adhere to the agreed upon documented procedures. Clearly, our narrow window of opportunity is closing too fast. Since I'm the highest ranking authority available, I'm going to take it upon myself to speak for everyone else. And to keep this as unbiased as possible, I'll let you speak for me. To be fair, and so that you are adequately forewarned, and this is mere speculation on my part, those whom I represent, have a reputation and a history of never listening to a word I have to say. So don't be alarmed when I ignore your presentation and only take into account my interpretation of their opinions. And don't think for a minute that I don't appreciate your efforts here. I'm confident and relatively optimistic that one day, when this matter is resolved and all the crumbs are neatly swept under the rug, it will be clear that our actions were completely justified. Let me state the 1, 2, 3s of the plan. Then you can pack your bags and meet me in the parking lot behind the drugstore. 1. We'll gather up the children first. They don't need to be exposed to this anticipated abuse. 2. Then we'll gather up our belongings and include at least enough supplies to last us through the worst of it. 3. We'll leave a note hanging on the inside door right at eye level so that it can't be missed. If all goes as planned, they'll understand, and they'll return to from where they came. I've studied this whole situation in great detail. I have examined all the various sides, even weighed the pros against the cons. I have concluded this plan is the only plan that will protect us from the cold reality. We simply cannot tolerate your crazy Uncle Zeb and that band of gypsies he calls his family staying with us for the entire weekend.